So welcome to Mind the Moment, Tuesday morning meditation, brought to you by Harvard Pilgrim Healthcare and Tufts Health Plan. My name is Abraham Dejene, and I'm a mindfulness researcher and instructor. I'm also a therapist in training with the intention of bringing mindfulness into psychotherapy. So hearty welcome to everyone who's here today, whether you're new to the practice or you're a seasoned veteran. The invitation is for everyone to really just show up as they are, and then use this moment, these 30 minutes that we have together, as a way to use mindfulness to better support us for whatever awaits us the rest of the day, the week, and so on. So the way today's session is structured is I'll guide us through a short arrival practice. We'll bring up the theme for this week, and then we'll have a longer 12-minute meditation practice. As I mentioned, everything I'm offering here today is simply that. It's an offering. So at any point in time, if something doesn't feel right to you or doesn't feel supportive in the moment, you're always in choice to pivot away to a different anchor point to end the practice altogether. So to really listen to the wisdom of your own body and then choosing what's best for you moment to moment. So with that said, why don't we go ahead and get started with our opening arrival practice. So the invitation now is to find a posture that best supports you to both be relaxed while remaining alert. So if you're sitting on a chair or on the floor, creating a posture that's both upright, alert, dignified. So you may notice the feet on the floor, the sit bone on the chair or the cushion, and keeping the spine tall and upright, while still keeping that sense of fluidity and the natural curve of the spine. So be aware if you're becoming rigid or stiff. So still allow for that room for the natural curvature to take place. And often for many of us, our shoulders are quite high, close to the ears, where we hold a lot of stress and tension. So if you notice that to be true for you, the invitation is to take a deep inhale in to bring the shoulders up. And then on the exhale, bring them back and down, letting them fall away from the ear. And keeping the head balanced between the shoulders. And if you feel comfortable and safe in the place you occupy at this moment, I invite you to close the eyes. If you choose to keep the eyes open, to lower the gaze maybe 45 degrees in front of you, and to find something to bring a narrow focus onto. So that way you're not being distracted with so much of the external stimulation. So whatever posture you've chosen now, inviting you to use the next few rounds of breath as a way to come into the seat. With each exhale, see if there's a possibility of letting go just a little bit more. Allowing the body to become heavier onto the surface beneath it. Maybe taking one more intentional deep breath here. On the exhale, letting go of any effort that's not necessary for today's practice. And wherever you may be now, inviting you to bring your attention to any sensations that may be available on the feet. This might be pressure, warmth, coolness. What could be felt in this region of the body? And then when you're ready, shifting your attention to your sit bone. You may notice the pressure of the chair, the floor, the cushion. So noticing the surfaces on the surface of the skin, but also those deeply rooted within this region. Remaining open and alert to any sensation that may present itself. Now, gently pivoting your attention to the hands, whether they're stacked on top of each other, on a surface, on another body part. Seeing what's available in the hands, palm, fingertips, even the spaces between the fingers. Maybe moisture, dryness, tingling, pulsing, vibrating fingertips, and possibly no sensations at all. Now the invitation is to narrow your field of attention to a single anchor point. So you could choose either the breath at any location that's available to you, the chest, the belly, the nostril. Or if the breath doesn't feel supported this morning, you could also identify a region of the body, so whether it's the hands, the sit bone, or the feet, as the place that you'll rest your attention on for this practice. But without using force or pressure, gently guiding your attention and allowing it to rest on the anchor you've chosen. Allowing yourself to be really intimate with what's available in this moment. It's the breath, you may notice the length of it, the depth, consistency, the lack thereof. If you've chosen a physical sensation, you might notice warmth, coolness, pulling, tightness. Allow yourself to be really curious for what could be known with paying attention to this anchor. And from this place of awareness, I invite you now to silently ask yourself, how am I in this moment? And then to create space around this question to discover what could be known. This could be emotionally, physically, mentally. How are you in this? The answer might be revealed in the form of physical sensations, thoughts, emotions, feelings. So allowing yourself to be curious to what is unfolding for you. I'm also noticing if there's any judgment or an aversion, wanting things to be different than how they are. If possible, set aside any of this judgment or this narrative you've created and coming back to what could be known in this moment. What is the quality of what's being experienced? And once that exploration feels complete to you, inviting you to let whatever came to the surface to dissipate into the background, and then to ask yourself one more time, how am I in this moment? You notice there's anything new that's being revealed to you then. Maybe there's layers underneath the layers. Maybe curious. You may notice sensations in the body directly correlated to whatever is being felt in this moment. And when you're ready, allow for that to also fade into the background. And then returning once again to a single anchor point, whether it's the breath or a specific region in the body, hands, feet, sit bone. And allow for your awareness to rest in this moment. As we come to the end of this elaborate practice, the invitation now is to bring gentle, intentional movement to the body, or maybe wiggling the fingers, the toes, gradually allowing for that movement to be more pronounced and larger. And if the eyes are closed, to reopen them, taking a look around the physical surrounding you're in as a way to reground yourself. And then in your own time and pace, gently bringing yourself back into the circle, this virtual circle. And we'll have an opportunity for each of us to bring our voice through the chat. So in that guided reflection, I had asked you, how are you in this moment? So whatever may have arose to the surface for you with that question of how are you in this moment, see if there's maybe a word or a phrase that captures that for you. So don't hit enter yet, but using the next 10 to 15 seconds to identify maybe a word or phrase that describes how you are in this moment. Then if you go into the chat function at the bottom, you could chat it directly to me or to everyone, whatever your level of comfort of sharing is. So whenever you're ready, go ahead and hit enter and put in the word or phrase that captures how you are in this moment. Let a few of them come in and then I'll bring them into our circle. A word or phrase that captures how you are in this moment. This could be a challenging experience, could be pleasant. All experiences are welcome. So noticing anxiety that's calmed down, anxious, restlessness. Maybe another moment or two if anyone else would like to share. So we'll pivot directly into the second part of the practice today. And today's theme is how do we meet difficulties in our lives? Rest is another example of an experience today. But so just even as I hear some of these chats coming in around anxiety, being anxious, being restless, so how do we meet difficulties if they arise in our lives, both in the practice, but also what happens off the practice as well, in our relationships, at work, with family members. So today I'll guide us through a practice that would encourage us to lean into discomfort of the present moment. But once again, please keep in mind that you are in choice here. So for any point in time, if leaning into discomfort makes you feel overwhelmed or it's too challenging, you're always in choice to pivot away. But seeing what could be found by bringing curiosity to difficult sensations or emotions that may be present for you today. So with that said, really want to encourage you to once again find a posture that is both accessible and kind to your body. So maybe similar to how you started today's session, sitting on a chair or cushion. You choose to lower the gaze or close the eyes completely. Once again, allow yourself to settle into this moment. Often bringing attention to the physical sensations in the body can be supportive. If you want to start by paying attention to the feet, the hands, sit bone, and even the spine against the back rest. So just noticing what's available in the body, right? If the body feels supportive and remaining grounded, you can stay with the body. But you're always in choice if you wanted to pivot to the breath as an anchor point. It could be the breath at the belly, the chest, the nostril. So wherever is most vivid and accessible to you, you're choosing now to either remain with the body or to pivot away to the breath. To use this as an anchor point for the duration of this practice. Anytime the mind is distracted, it's wandering off to another place in time, this is the place you'll gently and kindly return your attention to as a way to reground yourself. From this place of awareness, the invitation now is to identify either a difficult sensation in the body or a strong emotion or feeling, and to gently bring your attention to that experience. It might be an itch or tightness in the body, pain, discomfort, or maybe a feeling of constriction in the chest, anxiety, sadness, tightness in the jaw, tension in the shoulders. So wherever you're noticing an unpleasant experience, either physically or emotionally, I invite you to gently bring your attention and be curious to what's available within the quality of this experience. Once again, at any point in time, bringing awareness to difficult experiences is too much. Always return back to an anchor where we open your eyes. But you're always in choice. But if you choose to remain with this difficult experience, really inviting you to bring curiosity. See if there's a possibility to suspend judgment. Also being curious to the aversion you may have, wanting things to be different, tendency to distract or push the sensation or emotion away. So remaining curious also to your habitual reactions. As you continue to explore this unpleasant sensation or emotion, you may also notice the impermanence of the sensations rising, staying for a while, maybe changing in intensity over time, and then possibly dissipating, then maybe returning once again. So really allowing yourself to be intimate and how the sensations unfolding moments. Even in the midst of examining this difficult experience, you may notice subtle moments of ease or softness. Most of that is also true for your experience, whether it's the pain in the physical body or in the emotional body. Even in the midst of the difficulty, are there small pockets of softness, ease, gentleness? If you're noticing the mind is being distracted by thoughts or judgment or an aversion to this experience, just become aware of it. And then kindly invite your attention once again, either to continue to explore this difficult experience, or once again, returning to an anchor as a way to ground yourself. Friendly reminder that you're always in choice. And once this exploration feels complete to you, inviting you once again to narrow your field of attention back to a single anchor point, breath, or a specific region of the body that's offering you a neutral sensation. So without using force or pressure, gently guide your attention now and rest back on the anchor as a way to reground you into this moment. And even as you return back to the anchor, you still may notice some residual effects of the exploration of the difficult sensation or thoughts. So if you're noticing the residual impact, just be aware of it and continue to return the anchor, the breath back to the anchor as often as needed. And as we come to the end of this practice now, meditation is to bring gentle movement once again into the body, hands, the feet, the wrists, the ankle, and gradually adding larger movements into the body. See what is it that your body needs in this moment. Is it a stretch overhead to stand up? What is the body telling you about this moment? Let the eyes are closed to re-engage them, looking around the space you're in to be reoriented into your own environment. And then in your own time, in your own pace, gently bring yourself back into this virtual circle. Using the chat function, if you care to share, what did you notice about that experience of leaning into the discomfort? Any any insight, any wisdom that arose from leaning into the discomfort? You could chat it directly to me or to the whole group. Hope we feel comfortable. Curious to know, came to the surface for you as you leaned into the difficulty, which is often something we habitually avoid as human beings. When there's difficult sensations or difficult experiences, we often tend to distract ourselves or numb ourselves. Often we do anything and everything possible not to feel the difficulty of the moment. I'm curious to hear how leaning into the discomfort, what that brought up for you. Maybe it was challenging. Maybe you didn't feel supported in today's practice. So as you continue to explore this for the next few minutes we have, or just in general in your own lives as well, when difficult experiences or moments arise to the surface, seems there's a possibility to be present for it without needing to push it away, without needing to change what's happening, but the possibility of being a witness to the difficulty. And Sharon had mentioned just being reminded that suffering is when you're too attached to things being a certain way and they're not. Such a really key important piece that you shared, Sharon. Often our desire for things to be different than what they are, there's often a lot of suffering that arises from it. So in this practice, you may notice a pain in the knee or a pulling in the chest or a contraction. There's already the difficulty that arises with the physical sensation. And then you may have noticed the moment you want it to be different or you want things to change, you might have noticed another layer of suffering added to that experience. So just this curiosity of like, oh, here's difficulty. Can I be a witness to it without needing to do anything about it? It's an interesting way of dealing with uncertainties as well. And then Janice had mentioned, I noticed my resistance to moving towards the area of discomfort and try to meet it with curiosity and kindness. Those two words are really, really important, Janice. Often when we lean into moments of discomfort, there's usually either shame or judgment, or we create narratives around it, which often creates a contraction around the difficulty. But this idea of bringing curiosity and kindness to it often has a feeling of expansion. It feels like there's room to actually meet the discomfort or unpleasantness. And Tamara had mentioned it was challenging to sit this morning, but it was helpful. So, I'll say there's really never a practice that's ever wasted. Even understanding in this moment, Tamara, or there's difficulties, restless or agitated, to me, that's still a tremendous amount of good information to know how you are in this moment. Okay, today there's agitation, today there's restlessness, or I don't feel well. So just even knowing how you are in this moment can really guide you in deciding what is the best thing for me to do in the next moment. Maybe it's to go for a walk outside, maybe it's to get a drink of water, or just really, really bringing yourself and the wisdom that lies within you to the forefront and deciding what is best for you. And Heather had mentioned, I realized that I'm actually pretty hard on myself. I realized that I don't have to listen to that voice and can offer the kindness that I frequently offer to others, to myself. Yeah, that kindness piece that keeps coming back in this conversation. Often that inner voice for many of us tends to be quite critical. It's usually judgment or shame. As you mentioned here, Heather, what if we treated ourselves like we treated a dear friend or a loved one? How differently can that conversation unfold? How differently can their relationship with ourselves begin to change? So when you're noticing difficult sensations or emotions, also be aware of the language you use to describe it. There's a different feeling of saying, oh, there's unpleasantness, or I sense some tightness versus why am I so tight? Why am I so unpleasant? Why does it have to be this way? So just even the tone and the language we use in our own internal experience has a tendency to shape that practice for us, both on the cushion, on the chair, but also when we step off the cushion into our daily lives. So just really appreciative of everyone who brought their voice in. Hopefully today's practice will support you, as I imagine many of us will face difficult experiences throughout our day and our weeks. But just bringing that curiosity to each moment of difficulty and seeing how that changes your relationship with difficulty. So we're right at time. Just really grateful for everyone sharing this practice with me. And I'll be back in a few months, so I look forward to seeing some familiar names as well. So take care. You're most welcome, Janice. I'll end the call now. Have a wonderful rest of your day. You're welcome, Francis.